Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. And in this video, we are reacting to Toya and Reginae Season 2, Episode 8, The Clash of the Johnsons. So this episode starts how the last one ended with Beatty and Mel walking into Toya's event. Beatty feels like that Toya and Mel should talk at the event, and Toya said, no, not today. We're not doing this here. She feels like, it's not the time and it's not the place. Beatty feels like that it is the time and the place due to the fact that she's not going to bring Mel to Toya's house, and where else would they be at the same place at the same time at? Toya's friend Danielle butts in and says, hey, we're not going to do this here. After the event, y'all going to come to my house, y'all going to sit down, y'all going to talk. Toya gets up and she goes over to Mel and she's like, look, I told Beatty I don't have an issue with you. She was like, basically, me and Beatty got an issue. She was like, Beatty lives in my house and won't talk to me. She was like, basically, she's basically trying to get her sister bond together. And Beatty's basically saying, in order for me to have a bond with you, Toya, you have to have a bond with Mel. So Mel says, but we ain't got to talk today. Toya was like, it's not the time or the place. Beatty chimes in and says, but it's the way you said it. You could have said it a different way. Toya turns around and says, I said it how I said it. She was like, you the one who's coming off aggressive. No, she was like offensive and with an attitude and bucking. So Beatty was like, I didn't say, hey sis, y'all need to talk right now. I said, hey sis, could y'all talk when the event is over? And so you got what's her name? Erica sitting at the table. You got Danielle and you got a couple of other people just sitting there looking at Beatty. And Erica looked like she wanted to say something to Beatty so bad, but she can't because it's Toya's sister. But Beatty says, y'all ain't never got to talk to each other. I tried. I tried. So Toya was like, to be honest, I don't even know this girl right here talking about Beatty. And that's the issue at hand. Like, you're not used to your sister talking, so you're mad that your sister is standing up for herself. But overall, I think Beatty was wrong for bringing Mel to the event. She could have asked Toya, hey, I'm bringing Mel to the event. Can y'all sit down and talk? And you already know she would have said no, but even still, you asked her. Or you could have just bought Mel. Y'all could have sat down. Y'all could have watched the event. And then at the end, they might have just went on and talked by themselves. Danielle tells Toya, go ahead and finish what you're doing. You got too many people in here. She was like, and this is not okay. And she takes Mel and she takes Beatty outside because Mel was like, she felt like she wasn't welcome. But in Beatty's confessional, Beatty did say that she feels like that Toya looks down on her based on how she talks to her. But I feel like that's some of Mel's stuff because I did hear Mel say that Toya feels like she's better than everybody. Erica did say when Mel and Beatty went outside that she feels like it's something deeper. She was like, emotions was really high. I feel like it's something deeper. And Toya was like, it's like, yeah, before we worry about Mel, let's work on our sister bond. Every time I try to talk to you, you tell me I got to talk to Mel, and you live in my house and you won't even talk to me. And then outside of the place, we have Mel, we have Beatty, and we have Danielle. They're in the parking lot, they're talking. So basically, Danielle was like, y'all got to get it together. And so Mel was like, and it don't have nothing to do with me. And so Danielle was like, at all. Beatty was like, but when I start defending myself, it's a problem. And Danielle was like, because that's out of the ordinary for you. So at this point, Toya says she's embarrassed due to the fact that the argument was had in front of her jumpers. So she gets up and she goes outside with Beatty, Danielle, and Mel, and she was like, I might as well go ahead and have the conversation. So Toya comes outside and she's like, come here, Mel. So she pulls Mel to the side away from Beatty and Danielle, and they have their conversation separately. Toya starts the conversation off with saying, clearly it's issues. Mel was like, I see it. So Toya was like, Beatty is basically sensitive with the relationship with Toya and Mel due to the fact that it was an argument that happened last year. Toya said she never had an issue with Mel. She said her issue was everything that Beatty was telling her about Mel. She said basically that Beatty was telling her that basically Mel felt like that Toya felt like she was better than everybody. And so she was like, basically, Mel, you don't know me to feel any type of way about me. And she was like, I don't. She was like, but basically she was judging her for what she seen. And so Toya was like, but you never said anything to me about it. You never spoke to me about it. Like every time she comes to something that Toya and them has, she's humble. And she was like, she don't care how nobody feels or whatever. And so Toya was like, it was humble for you to come to my mother's dinner and not speak to me. It's just like, Toya, I get maybe you had fun at the dinner. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it wasn't about you. It was about Mama Nita. And it's like Toya always makes things about herself. If that girl know you don't like her, then of course she's not gonna speak to you. So the conversation started getting loud, and so Beatty and Danielle eased their way over to make sure everything was okay. And they kind of broke everything up. So Mel walks away because she said she didn't come for that. So Toya instantly turns to Beatty and starts talking to her, and she's like aggressive, like grabbing on her. She's in her face, and she's like, "You got an issue with me? You got an issue with me? Tell me you got an issue with me." Beatty's standing there like, I don't know what to say about Beatty, like a mute. Like she like, no, no. And it's just like, but you do. You just said you did. It's like Beatty can't stand up to Toya. She's scared of Toya. And it's like when Mel is around, that's her comfort because Mel don't care. Mel gonna say what she feels. She not scared of Toya. But Beatty does tell Toya like it has nothing to do with Mel. It has something to do with how your delivery was. Like you came off aggressive. Like, and I'm not on it. And she was like, but that's how you wanted to come off, sis. And she was like, and those are my feelings. But when she said that, she was yelling. So you're like, oh no, you doing too much. And it's just like Toya, when she's saying something, she's doing too much. When she says nothing, she's not doing enough. It's just like, girl, damn if you do, damn if you don't. And it's just like Toya needs to learn how to not overstep her boundaries when it comes to this type of stuff because at the end of the day, Beauty is a grown woman. That is her relationship. Whatever she feels like she wants to go through, that's on her. You need to be quiet because had she stepped in the middle of you and Red relationship problems, it would be a problem. So Toya and Danielle, they go to Toya's house and so they're looking for Red to tell Red basically what happened. So they all sit down in the kitchen. Red comes in, and so she's like, "Babe, you won't believe what happened." So Danielle was like, "It's serious." So he like, "Oh Lord, what Casey do now?" So Danielle was like, "It's not Casey." So he was like, "Really?" So she was like, "Yeah." He was like, "With who?" And so Toya was like, "With me." And so he was like, "Mel must have been there." So Toya was like, "I was trying to have a respectful adult conversation when baby sis turned up on me." And it was just like, you know what? I feel like Toya don't hear herself speak. And hopefully when she does, she changes how she speaks to people because when she gets upset, it's like she wants to fight. And you too old for that. And I feel like she also needs to know that it's not always about her. Like, come on now. And the fact that BD stood up for herself, baby, that's the end of the world for Toya because she not used to BD saying nothing. And I feel like BD needs to stop waiting for Mel to come around to get a battery in her back. But Toya starts crying and she basically is saying that she wants to cut her family off because since she's been around them and helping them, her health is declining. Toya says the same thing every season and nothing changes. It's like you need them just as well as they need you. So now we see Walter and we see BD at the basketball court. Walter said he wanted to see where his little sister here was at, and he also wanted to know like what happened between Toya and her. And he also wanted to beat her in the game of basketball. So he did that. So after the game, they went and sat on the side on the bench. And then you start seeing Reginae walking up. So in Reginae's confessional, she was talking like, she wanted to see what was going on, what happened, because she don't know what happened. And she said when she called Beatty, Beatty hung up on her. So I'm like, Walter, did you set your sister up? Because that's what it sounds like. I do feel like it could have been a mutual person there because Walter is Team Toya and so is Reginae, of course. So they was like teaming up on Beatty, and I don't think that's right because Beatty is not that type of person that you need to do that with. To the point Reginae talking about she was checking Beatty's temperature. Like, girl, for what? Why? So Reginae sits beside Beatty, and Walter is sitting on the other side of Reginae. Instead of Walter being in the middle and Reginae on the other side, it was just so stupid. But Reginae sits down and like, so what's up with y'all? And then she was like, Beatty, what's up with you since you hung up on me? So Beatty was like, I didn't want to argue on the phone. You called me. She was like, tensions was high. And basically, Reginae called her trying to check her in so many words. But Beauty felt like they was better than that, so she hung up because she didn't want to argue with Reginae. So Reginae asked Beauty, do she like her mom? She was like, because every time she's happy, she was like, that basically Beauty don't want to deal with Toya. And you should ask yourself that question. Why does Beauty distance herself away from Toya when she gets with Mel? Because she keeps inserting herself in her business. That's why. Toya wants to be in control of everything, and that's not cool. And then also, it's like Beauty likes to be controlled because Mel is controlling her as well. So it's just like Beauty don't have a brain of her own. And I feel like Walter didn't even need to be there because I feel like Walter was supposed to be the mediator. And all he was doing was taking Toya's side when Toya was in the wrong as well as Beauty. So Reginae starts saying she doesn't know how she could maneuver life without her mother. She was like, she feels like they all don't because her mother has helped everybody. And that's like financially, yes, but far as anything else, Toya has issues of her own. Toya doesn't know how to handle things. Regina is talking about her mother is a glue to the family. No, Toya pays her way. Toya pays for everybody to come together. Toya pays for people to go to certain places, yes. But when it comes to people getting along and stuff like that, she can't even handle things. She outside calling her brother a bitch. Come on now, stop playing. So then Regina starts saying like, Didi, you was upset. Just say you was upset because my mama played your girl by telling her she didn't want to talk to her. That don't even sound right. At the end of the day, your mother was upset because she felt played because Beatty spoke up for herself. And then Mel also spoke up for herself. And she was really mad at Beatty because Beatty be quiet and she could walk over top of Beatty and yell and do all of that. So what she did was she called Regina to handle her dirty work because she felt played. So now we see Regina and she is I guess she got a new movie coming out. She's playing a bounty hunter named Benny. So that's pretty much it. So now we see Casey knocking on Toya's door, and Toya goes to the door. She opens the door. In comes a masseuse and Casey. So Casey surprised Toya with a massage. So Toya was so happy. She was like, "What? Casey surprised me with something? He must want something." And sure enough, he do. Toya gets her massage, and then she comes in and she talks to Casey, and she's like, "What's on your mind?" And so basically, he wants to be in his son's life more. So he wants for Toya to talk to his son's mom. Toya does say she does not mind getting him and Gabby together because, he does need to be in his son's life, but she's not going to be in the middle of it. So now we see Walter and Mama Nita. They're getting in a sprinter and they're on their way to Patience, who is Walter's daughter's graduation. When Patience seen her daddy, it was just so heartfelt. Like, it was so heartfelt because she ran up to him and she bust out crying, and it was like she was so overfilled with joy. I don't know. Some of y'all may not remember, but Toya had another show, and I think it was Toya and Tiny, and her siblings and her family was all on there. And I remember Patience was just a baby, like she was a little baby. Now she graduating. So this is the day of Toya's brunch for her mom, and it says before Casey got a chance to talk to Gabby, he and Reginae got into an argument and Casey exploded. So you see Casey and you see Toya, they're arguing, calling each other bees. Toya calling him a bum bee. She says she don't want him in her house ever. So Reginae said what happened was basically Casey told Reginae, "You're just like me." Reginae makes this face like, "Ew, no, I'm not. I'm nothing like you." And I feel like he took it as like you're looking down on him. So she says, "I don't understand why he went off like that just because I said that." So they try to make it like they're jealous, like Casey and them are jealous of Reginae and her mom. And it's like, no, y'all constantly try to look down on them or talk down on them, and that's weird as hell. And then on top of that, Reginae don't have no respect for her aunties and her uncles. She talks to them like they're beneath her. So Toya is standing at the table talking to Casey's baby's mother, and she's like, "I'm shaking." So Casey baby mother was like, "He really needs some help." And it's like, Casey, why would you go off like that in front of your kid's mom? Now you're really not about to see your son. You don't know how to control yourself. Anyway, Toya said he broke her door. She was like, "That boy really needs some help." And in comes Walter. In Casey's confessional, he was like, basically, Regina be talking to him like he's a child and she be having aggression in her voice. He was like, "I'm not the makeup artist. I'm not your friend. I'm not your groupie. Like, I'm your uncle." So now Toya is at her mother's daughter's brunch, and she says she wanted to have it to honor the mothers. And so Miss Anita is not there at all. So Toya said it's going to be devastating for her if she does not show up. So they waited around, and then Miss Anita finally pulls up. She walks around the table. She hugs everybody. She greets everybody, and then she sits next to Toya. Toya does say she's relieved that her mother walked through the door, but she's still pissed off because her mother ditched her for Mother's Day. She says she would have thought that Nita would have tried a little harder to be there for her at the brunch. Toya said it's beautiful that you was able to show up for your granddaughter and be there for Walter, but basically Toya feels like she's always at the bottom of the list, and it's just like Walter just did like what 9 years or so. So I'm pretty sure you done had your mom to yourself. So she done been a plenty of things for you, and it's like now it's Walter's turn. Come on now. Let's correct it. That man did 20 years in jail. You done had time with your mother for 20 years. So here go Danielle butting in, talking about, hey, Nita, what happened? You didn't really ditch what she say, you ditched my sister because you went with them. Who is them? Her siblings? Miss Nita was like, my son just came home from jail for 20 years. It was Walter's time with me. Toya cuts her off by saying, "Yeah, and Toya is always at the bottom of the list. That's why I'm creating a circle with people that show me love like I show them love or whatever. If you're just going to burn your mother, just let her go." So Danielle comes and takes Toya over to the bar, and Toya's talking cocaine shit about her mama, and it's just like, I don't care what none of y'all say. Y'all can comment, y'all can say what y'all want to say. At the end of the day, Toya is the problem. Toya done got into it with all of her siblings. Everybody's saying the same thing about her. Toya is the problem.